Welcome everyone to another wonderful Saturday in the Section 12J webinar. We'll be having a talk with Kate from Ngoye from one of our qualifying companies. We'll be speaking on behalf of her project, and then Chris Hart will be speaking about how you can invest your taxes in this project. So Kate, the floor is all yours. I have allowed that you can share the screen, so forth. So thank you.
Okay, good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here with us today. So how I'd like today's session to run is I'm going to share with you a short 2-minute video, which gives you a visual representation of who we are as a project, and it also shows you where we're located and what the farm looks like. I think it's a great visual for you. Then I'm going to hand over to Chris. And Chris is going to present to you on the S12J, how it works, what's involved, and hopefully answer lots of those questions that you may already have. Then we're going to come back to me and I'm going to share some more specific information with you about the cannabis industry, about who Ngoye Agriculture is, and just some points on our team and why you should look at investing with us. So thank you, Tristan. A medicinal cannabis project located on the north coast of KZN is presenting you with an opportunity of taking advantage of a 100% tax-deductible investment before 30 June 2021. The medicinal cannabis industry is forecast to be worth over 100 billion rand locally and $46 billion globally by 2026. Ngoye Agriculture is being established on a successful sugar farm that has been in operation since 1917 by the same family, now in its 4th generation. This project diversifies the agricultural output of the farm and creates sustainable employment opportunities for the local community by establishing what will be a world-class facility for the research, cultivation, and production of medicinal cannabis and other botanicals. In South Africa, the medicinal cannabis industry is fully regulated, with every aspect of the cultivation, production, and manufacturing process being controlled. At Ngoye Agri, we are building such a facility. Our vision is to be the largest, most innovative, stable, and profitable organic medicinal cannabis producer in South Africa, with the highest quality botanicals for the pharmaceutical, health, and beauty industries. Through this S12J tax incentive, Ngoye Agriculture are offering you a 15% return over 5 years. This means that your investment is set to double over the next 5-year period. The project build is planned in 3 phases that include the installation of the cultivation area, the process facility, and the research and development area. The second phase is expansion, which will include an additional 4 to 7 hectares of medicinal cannabis and other botanicals. And the final stage is the setup of a fully sustainable eco-lodge and health retreat with conference facilities. Ngoye Agri have partnered with economist Chris Hart and the team at Impact Empowerment Ventures to ensure the success of this venture. To find out more about the project and how you can invest, follow the link provided and attend one of our webinars this week. And I'd like to hand over to Chris to talk to you about IEV and Section 12J. Thank you, Tristan.
Right, good morning or good afternoon, everybody. And again, I appreciate everybody's attendance. Thank you very much indeed. I'm starting off with the title slide to actually say prospering through taxes. It sounds strange, and it's usually where people have a bit of a short circuit. How on earth can that be possible? How do we prosper through taxes? Taxes are something that's taken away from us. But here in Section 12J, we can actually get our taxes back and apply it into an investment. And at that point, many people have what I call a short circuit upstairs and say, how on earth does SARS allow you to get your tax back and invest it? Surely that's too good to be true, and all the rest of it. And so I start with that And then go on to the next slide, which is in fact our disclaimer slide, to actually emphasize the investment environment, if you like, the ecosystem into which we are investing. Impact Empowerment Ventures is a registered financial services providing company, FSP, with a number. The number is reflected there, and the venture capital company registration with SARS number 10135 is there. This disclaimer is also just to show, again, in financial services, you have to actually describe the context of the presentation, and it's for information purposes and not for advice purposes. And so that's basically why we've got that the disclaimer slide. It's to emphasize that we're not here as a pyramid scheme or something that's too good to be true or anything like that. This is something that's been going on for several years, and I'm going to then go on from there to describe what is Section 12J, and then go and just give some background on Impact Empowerment Ventures, and then look how can we actually access the Section 12J investing, because as it stands, it's not that easy to access, and I'll explain why. Firstly, how it works. It's very, very similar to a retirement annuity. Nobody has a problem with a retirement annuity. You make contributions to a retirement annuity. At the end of the tax year, it's a deduction of your income, and because you deduct your income, it reduces your taxable income through that deduction, and you get some tax back. Section 12J is exactly like that. I'm going to use an example of R1 million investment against which you're going to get about a 400,000 Rand tax refund, right? And that's basically what we do. So the investor invests R1 million into a Section 12J venture capital company, in this case, Impact Empowerment Ventures. Through that, you will get a Section 12J venture capital company share certificate. And when you submit your taxes, you include that share certificate with your submission, and that becomes a deduction of your income taxes. So let's assume you had R1 million worth of income and you made this R1 million investment. So your income for tax purposes is R1 million minus the R1 million that you've made in the venture capital company, which means that your income is zero. For income tax purposes, that 400,000 Rand that you've paid to SARS comes back to you. It means that your R1 million investment has actually only cost you 600,000 Rand. And that then makes it an absolutely phenomenal investment incentive that is available for small businesses to actually get capital, to get established, to grow, to recapitalize various options. In this case, we're looking to actually get an existing farm for capital to diversify in an absolutely superb project. Section 12J, as I've already said, has been around for 12 years. It's embedded in the SARS e-filing system, and it's part of the actual tax legislation. Right? When you do this investment, it's not that we get your taxes back and you have to give it back to SARS later. It's a permanent transfer of your taxes back to you as long as you invest it for a minimum of 5 years. When you actually withdraw your investment, SARS will levy a capital gains tax on what you get out. And that's Section 12J in a nutshell. And it's really fairly simple, but I know what the problem is. The problem is people don't have that R1 million to invest, or if they're earning R2 million, the R2 million to invest to get their taxes back. So we need to try and overcome that. But before we do that, I want to just explain what Impact Empowerment Ventures is and what impact investing is. Impact investing is something that's really taking off in the investment world. You know, from traditional asset management, people actually want to know what is the effect my investment is having on society. And that's what impact investing is about. But when we actually look at it, let's say what I call as a hierarchy of needs, is that most impact investing actually targets the end of a needs pyramid. In other words, green energy is an example of that, and in art and culture. Whereas to be Africa relevant, we believe that the main target should be jobs, job creation, food security, housing, education, but also SME ownership. So we as a everybody try to finance people into their businesses, not out of their businesses. And that's why I'm emphasizing that, is because we go by the acronym enriching lives through opportunity. By having direct investment into SMEs, you're actually getting into the engine of growth or the engine of job creation in any economy, which is SMEs. And so we use enrich as a acronym. I know it's got 2 R's in the thing. It's deliberate there, but it's enhanced risk control returns. It's an investment that's trying to generate good returns, but on a controlled risk basis. So enhanced risk control returns that creates investment that delivers change and hope in society. You can appreciate in South Africa, with the unemployment rate that we've got, it's just sucking the lifeblood, the hope, the aspirations of our youth, with this desperate high unemployment rate that's that's really crushing our society as such. And so this investment that you're going to make not only will help with the farm diversify, and it's a great investment, it actually delivers opportunity in a community that's desperate for opportunity in northern rural KZN. All right. In terms of when we evaluate investments, as I say, we start off with commercial merit. We're looking for investments. We're not a charity. I know there's a place for charity, but it's not here. So the commercial merit is an important departure point. And next to the commercial merit has to be the people, the talent, the skills, the ability of the people standing next to that project. The reason why we like this particular project is that these are farmers. They know how to do this. They've been doing it for generations, and they're actually focused and dedicated and committed to this particular project. It's not something that we try to parachute a project in some sort of area, and if it doesn't work out, well, the people can just walk away. This is not the case. And so we actually have got an enormous amount of confidence in the people operating this particular project. Next to that is the risk. Part of the risk for medicinal cannabis is in fact pollution, and this is one of the reasons why we like the location of this. It's actually quite remote, far away from sources of pollution, which is a big risk of contamination to a medicinal cannabis type of project. And then finally, and risk we look at as something to embrace, not run away from. And then finally, we look at technology. Technology is basically about the fourth industrial revolution. It's the shift from the 20th century business model, which was mass production, big business, large factories, economies of scale, shifting to the 21st century business model, which is actually mass customization. It's giving small businesses the opportunity to compete with big businesses for the first time in several decades. And so this is the advantage that we are having in this environment. And this is why I think also impact investing is really staging a grand entrance on the investments field. So that's just a brief nutshell of what we can do. I can spend a lot of time on that, but I think it's mainly what is our Section 12J, our smart structured solution for Section 12J. And here, what I go back to the first slide, outlining what Section 12J was. You pull R1 million out of your pocket. Well, okay, there's the problem. I don't have R1 million to pull out of my pocket. So how we do it? We actually say, let's lend you the R1 million. And that's not, SARS actually specifically in the Section 12J legislation deals with that. They specifically allow you to borrow money to make the Section 12J investment as long as it is paid back. Right, so we have to meet that compliance criteria. And the other criteria is that the investor has to be at risk. So we ask the investor to put down a securing deposit of 25,000 Rand, which forms part of the collateral for the loan that we are making. So we make the loan of R1 million, and that gives rise, and we apply it to the investment into the Impact Empowerment Ventures 12J venture capital company. That investment, that R1 million investment, you get the the share certificate, and you can then submit that to SARS and get your taxes back. Those taxes have to pay down your loan. So in the example that we're using, 400,000 Rand tax goes back against the loan, which means that the loan gets paid down from R1 million to 600,000 Rand, and there's cash of 400,000 Rand in there. That gets then passed into the qualifying company, right? That whole lot gets passed into the qualifying company. And the qualifying company, or in the qualifying company, we monetize that loan. And that loan then gets paid down further in the qualifying company. They assume any responsibility for interest payments and also to pay it down, through what would have normally been dividends from the actual qualifying company. And after 5 years, you can now start withdrawing the investment if it's worked. We emphasize that this is a venture capital company, and what you're doing is you're flipping your taxes. The 400,000 Rand does not come from you, it comes from SARS. If you don't do this investment, that money stays with SARS, never to be seen again. The next few slides, I'm just going to unpack this a little bit. So just for further clarification, is that we've made the 1 million Rand asset, and with the 25,000 securing deposit forms part of the collateral against the loan. It's a limited collateral loan. In other words, we agree that this collateral is sufficient for this arrangement where we've got a 600,000 Rand loan with 400,000 Rand cash against that loan, that we have sufficient cover for this arrangement. Now, why we say it's a limited collateral loan is, let's say it collapses in an absolute heap, no salvage, and we have to then demand from the investor to please pay the rest of the loan down. We then can seize the collateral that we have agreed on, but we've got absolutely no rights to extend that to ask for anything more, because the investor would have met their obligation, right, by handing their collateral over against the loan. Right, we obviously don't want to get there, but we've got to describe what's the worst case for the investor. Right, this 400,000 cash, 600,000 loan, in other words, 1 million Rand facility as a whole, gets passed into the qualifying investment, and the qualifying investment, in this qualifying investment, which is the qualifying company, in this case, Ngoye, assumes responsibility for the loan. They pay the loan down. In other words, they service the capital. They also service the interest on the loan. This is where the loan gets monetized. And the company, the institution that monetizes the loan, then their contract is with the qualifying company, not with the investor. So if everything went wrong, their salvage is against the qualifying companies, and that further protects the investor, which means that we're shifting the risk away from the investor. It means that in your investment, your downside is 25,000. What is your upside? This is what we're trying to do. If we achieve 10% a year, we will be able to deliver 600,000 in value to you, with the debt reduced or paid off by that stage. Whatever you get out of this investment will be net of any debt. It'll be paid down and paid off completely. You'll get that, let's say if it's 10% a year, 600,000. This particular project, we project to be able to deliver 15% a year to you. All right, and that means your 400,000 Rand should be worth 800,000 Rand by the time we pass year 5. Right, remember, this money you would not have. It's not that you'd say, right, if I don't do this investment, I'll keep my 400,000 Rand in the bank. You will not have the 400,000 Rand. This is money that comes back from taxes. And this is why it's astonishing. What we're doing is literally flipping your taxes. And I'm just going back to the diagram again. You're literally flipping your taxes into the investment. If it pays off, you're going to get something out. If it doesn't pay off, you're in no worse position than if you just paid your taxes. So this is really delivering you the closest thing to free investment that you can actually get for that. And that's it. in terms of that, how do we access it? And I'm just going to describe that. Is that the first thing is there's a commitment to invest form. In that commitment to invest form, you give us your details, your name, address, size of shoe, all of that type of thing. We then, you also have to supply the FEEC and FIRES documents, the normal stuff, proof of address, ID, that type of thing. And then you get the securing deposit in place. That's an important part of the compliance, and it also proves to SARS when you did the investment. So because we've got 30th of June, that's quite close, and we do appreciate not everybody has 25,000 Rand just lying in their bank account. We can actually take a deposit, in other words, a small amount of that, and we can make payment arrangements subsequent to that, right, in the next few months. But we do need something from your bank account into our bank account to prove to SARS if this took place before the 30th of June. All right, then we complete the required documentation that we do next month, that we don't have to have done before the 30th of June. Who can invest? Companies, trusts, individuals, provisional taxpayers, and partnerships, because the minimum income is R1 million. If you don't have R1 million, you don't qualify, not on your own, but you can put yourself together in a partnership. Let's say you earn 600,000 and you get somebody who's earning 500,000. We can put you together in a partnership. Together, your income is over R1 million and you qualify. Thank you very much. I'm just going to say thank you very much, and then leave this as it is and hand the mic back.
Thank you for that, Chris.
My pleasure.
Am I back online?
You're back online.
That's wonderful. So, Chris, thank you so much for that explanation. And I'd like to just take a moment and put everybody's minds at ease. We will be taking this presentation today. We will be uploading it into YouTube, and you can go and watch it as many times as you need to, because nobody expects you to understand what Chris has gone through in just one sitting. You're going to go back and watch it again and again. And we're also available to answer any questions that you have. So I just want to share a few things with you. So in regards to the cannabis industry, cannabis has been used medicinally for centuries. And there has been plenty of clinical research undertaken that has shown globally that it provides relief from chronic pain, mental illness, epilepsy, and there are clinical studies being taken still in regards to cancers. We now have a number of FDA-approved medicines containing cannabis, and the World Health Organization has told us that over 322 million people suffer globally from depression, over 50 million people suffer from epilepsy, and many millions from chronic pain. So none of that is going away. We then have the health and beauty industry, which is growing exponentially. And here in South Africa, medicinal cannabis is fully legislated, and it's there to protect the end consumer, to ensure that they get a quality product. It's there to protect the industry, to ensure that we comply with all of the parameters set in place for us. And it's there to also provide security to you, the investor. So I just want to take a moment to talk about money. I want to talk about some figures around the cannabis industry. And if you go and do your own research, you will find figures vary greatly. But the gist of it is online distribution of medicinal cannabis or CBD products in 2019 were valued at about $1.3 billion. Okay, they expect that to surpass $89 billion by 2026. Research and development into testing products and testing CBDs and various cannabinoids and the terpenes that are the magic ingredients in this plant are currently sitting at around $1.2 billion. If you look at the African Cannabis Report, it tells us that this industry is set to become the continent's highest value market by 2023. With a value of over 107 billion Rand. Now that's exciting. And this is an opportunity for you to get into that industry at the ground level. So who's Ngoye View Agriculture? This is the offshoot of a sugar farm that's been in operation since 1917 and has been run by the same family for 4 generations, and that is my family. I'll come back to that in a minute. What's important for us as a family is to not just have individuals investing their taxes or their hard-earned savings or retirement funds with one family. And that's why we've partnered with Chris Hart and the team at IEV. We've partnered with them so that they can manage your investment. You are investing with IEV. They sit on our board and they represent you, the investor, and they work with us to help us to make sure that this project is a success. As a farm, and across Africa, farms have had to look at diversifying from their original crop, and many people in our industry have diversified to working with macadamias, and that's an expensive diversification to undertake, and it will take you 7 years to see a good return on that investment. We're not looking at 7 years to see a return on investment in cannabis. Others have gone into vegetables, flowers, essential oils. We've decided to go into medicinal cannabis, something we believe in. And at its core, our project is an agricultural project with value chain enhancements. It's located on a well-established, well-managed commercial sugar farm in KwaZulu-Natal. And our goal is to establish a world-class facility for the research and development of cannabis strains. We're looking at the setup of a nursery so that we can set up a seed bank for South Africa and Africa. We're going to be cultivating organic medicinal cannabis, looking to build an extraction facility, a process facility, and eventually we'll be looking to manufacture our own range of products for the health and beauty industry. We're going to be setting up an eco lodge, a health retreat, and a spa where those products that we produce are going to be incorporated into the entire experience. We're currently undertaking agreements with off-takers globally and within South Africa, because companies in South Africa who are producing CBD products are currently importing them from overseas. All our activities are going to be totally compliant with local and international regulations, and we will be working actively towards obtaining our EU GMP, meaning Good Manufacturing Process Compliance certification. A little bit about our team that we've engaged. So we've engaged the best licensing consultants in South Africa. They are highly regarded, they are experienced, and they are working hand in hand with us to get our license. We've engaged EU GMP consultants, and they're going to help us with the building of the production facility. And we've engaged a specialist team of master growers who come from Canada, and they have combined over 40 years of experience growing medicinal cannabis commercially. Within our family, just very short and simple, our dad's been farming for over 50 years. And while he knows nothing about cannabis, he knows our land, he knows our seasons, our rainfall, and our community. Our mum is going to be looking after continuing on with our community upliftment programs. And just as a little aside, we're very proud of her, but back in the 90s, she was one of the Nelson Mandela inaugural recipients of his Community Upliftment Award, and it's something we want to carry on with as a family. I'm in the position of acting CEO, and I've worked across industries, overseas and locally, for many years in the setup of new ventures, project management, brand development, training and development. I'm an entrepreneur. And with my brother for the last 3 years, we've been actively networking within this industry, researching and taking our time to choose the very best team to build this facility and run this facility with us. Mark is an electrical and mechanical engineer. He's designed and built machinery. He's built factories from the ground up. And since he's taken over management of the sugar farm, with my dad retiring, he has not only increased the tonnage output of the crop, but also the sucrose levels. And he's working with our farm manager so that when this is underway, he will be taking on the position of COO. Patrick, our brother that lives in London, while he's not hands-on in the project, he sits there as a sounding board for us and provides project oversight. He is a project manager within the investment division of BNP Paribas. We're very proud of him. And his key experience is in reviewing legal and compliance oversight, and he's delivered large-scale market projects and programs. And lastly, Penelope, our sister, while she's a qualified teacher, she's currently working in the high-end hospitality industry in lodges, retreats, and spas. And I think it's a given what we're hoping she's going to take over in the future. So just very quickly, why this investment? Medicinal cannabis is still relatively new in South Africa, but it's been rapidly growing since the legislation's changed, and there is substantial growth opportunities ahead. But the key barrier is the high capital cost of establishing a facility, and that's where you come in. This is a new project, but where it's situated, who it's run by, and the team engaged to ensure its success have proven themselves with going concerns. So this opportunity for you to invest is the best possible time because it's giving you an opportunity to get into the medicinal cannabis industry at the ground level. In phase one, which is getting our project to license. We're offering the best possible share price right now, and after 30 June, there will be other investment packages and opportunities available. Once we're licensed, our international investors will be coming on board for the expansion of this process, facility and extraction, and our farm is 270 hectares. So there's a considerable growth opportunity. Our next stage will just be 4 to 7 hectares. And of course, the lodge, health retreat and spa. So thank you so much for your time. I'm mindful of how much time we've got left together. And I know Tristan's going to see if any of you have any questions. Thank you, Tristan. I'll hand back to you.
This is a wonderful project to be involved in as well. So we will be handing over to if you guys have got any questions. But in the meantime, while you guys are thinking, I did put up our website so you can look into us and contact us and find out more information. And you can also contact us on our various social media platforms. And like Kate said, we will be sending out a video explaining what this is and what and a whole presentation as well to everyone after this. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I just want to make a little comment in terms of the license and in terms of where we're getting. In South Africa, you don't get a license up front and then you build the facility. Here you build the facility, they check whether you're compliant, and then you get the license. And because it's a little bit back to front, the initial investors it's actually hard to get investment into cannabis in South Africa because of that arrangement. And so by getting involved in this is where the actual project is specifically very cheap for the investors, you know, that we're speaking to at the moment to actually get in, because you're getting in literally at ground level. This investment then takes us to the point of getting the license, which us as an investment house has already evaluated and say it's a risk. We might not get the license, but whatever we build, I think, is able to be turned into a commercial venture in any case, right? Whether it, you know, in terms of high value add agricultural projects, it doesn't have to be cannabis. But the moment we've got the license, and we don't believe it's a big risk not to get the license, but we do think that the risk is there. But the moment we've got the license, the value of this enterprise just shoots through the roof. It goes up exponentially. And at that point, we then bring in other investors that don't want to invest until there's a license. All right. And so from the point of view of the strategy, we actually, whereas we believe we're going to we've got a very good chance of delivering 15% annual compounded growth rate to the investors here. I actually understand it's going to be more. It's going to be considerably more because, you know, anyway, but let's just see how we go. All right. It is quite an exciting project.
Thank you, Chris. So Tristan, okay, great. So thank you, Chris, for mentioning that. And what we've done as a project to mitigate that risk of licensing, as I mentioned, we've engaged the best possible consultants to assist us. We've been working with them for the last 12 to 18 months in terms of the application process. And we selected them because they have actively got numerous other projects, their licenses. So they've proven their ability. Their consulting is sound, and we're excited to be working with them to get that done. So this is why we've got to the point that we have with our build, and why we're looking at the further stage of development. So thank you for discussing that.
Okay, we don't have much time anymore, so I will just be closing this off. But if anyone's got any questions, please, again, feel free to contact us. Any closing remarks, Chris and Kate?
No, it's just to say that we are available, outside this channel, if you've got questions, but we do urge, please act today. Have mercy on our Wednesday next week, because the deadline is then, and if everybody arrives on deadline day, we will be frazzled. So we do appreciate if you can act and get those forms in, over the course of the next few hours. We would appreciate. If anybody is battling and said, oh no, I need lots more time to think about it, get it in. All right. And we will allow you a free, absolutely free 30-day cooling off period, to cancel the transaction and get all your money back. And you only need to put down a certain amount, even if it's just 10%, we'll accept, just to get the investment in place. Right. And that just needs to happen before the 30th of June. And you can cancel any time during July if you don't like this. But as I say, you're joining a group. We've already got over 600 million rand in assets under management in this specific space. All right.
Thank you for that, Chris. But we are ending now. Sorry to cut you off, Kate, but thank you everyone for joining. Please enjoy the rest of your Saturday. We will be emailing everyone. Thank you so much. Enjoy. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.